right, let's try to wrap our brain around the guy who flew his gyroscope or his gyrocopter onto the lawn of the Capitol building. This guy told a reporter he was going to do it about a year ago. The reporter shows up to watch it happen. The Tampa Bay Times reporter covered it. The reporter, Ben Montgomery, was in touch with the pilot, identified as a mailman named Doug Hughes, over a period of months. The managing editor of the Tampa Bay Times said in a statement, Hughes told us last week that he planned to go to Washington and attempt his flight. But the newspaper didn't inform the authorities of his flight plan until after the gyrocopter was in the air. The managing editor, Jennifer Orsi, told reporters, at about 1 p.m., we called the Capitol Police and Secret Service to ask whether they were aware that a man was flying toward the Capitol in a gyrocopter and ask for comment. We posted their response on our website. At approximately 1:30, he landed. It was a protest flight, something about the need for campaign finance reform. Now, once again, we see somebody invading restricted airspace in our nation's capital, fly something or breach security, and we all just sort of shrug our shoulders and say, well, it's just some guy with problems or some issue, and he's flying his personal gyrocopter onto the lawn of the Capitol building. I don't need to do the typical platitudes, do I? It could have been a bomb. It could have been a terrorist attack. It could have been anything. And I don't know the role of the media in this. I don't understand the ethics of journalism. But if you've got a guy who's got some issues and is going to give interviews saying, I'm going to fly my gyrocopter and land on the Capitol building lawn, don't you think at some point the reporters ought to alert the authorities? He's a 61-year-old mailman from Florida. He was taking a stand against Citizens United by giving a letter to every single member of Congress. He wanted to deliver it. He didn't work because he was arrested. But they've known about this for a year at the Tampa Bay Times. Here's the reporter, Ben Montgomery, talking to Jake Tapper on CNN. Cut 15.
Well, he's been thinking for a very long time about a very boring issue, campaign finance reform. And his mission was to do something big, this sort of mix of P.T. Barnum and Paul Revere, as he described himself, and fly a gyrocopter through protected airspace and landed on the lawn of the Capitol to deliver 535 letters, one for each member of Congress, that spells out how he feels about campaign finance, money corrupting elections.
Now, the reporter says that this guy was himself surprised that he wasn't stopped. Cut 16.
I saw a tweet that you wrote earlier today hoping that nothing bad happened, that no one got hurt. Do you think that the pilot understood that he could have been killed doing this?
Oh, yeah, he knew that was certainly a possibility. He was ready for that. He's been thinking about this for 2.5 years. He's pictured every scenario you could possibly imagine. Thought about where he could put the plane down safely, where he could land on buildings if he was forced down. He thought, he'd be escorted in by a Black Hawk helicopter. I think he was probably surprised that he didn't have any resistance.
Well, maybe he was surprised that the reporter didn't tell anybody and the newspaper didn't report this to the authorities. And I don't know, maybe you don't think they should.